When people think of genetically modified organisms, food crops like GMO corn and soybeans usually come to mind. But engineering more complex living things is now possible. The controversy surrounding genetic modification has now spread to the lowly mosquito, which is being genetically engineered to control mosquito-borne illnesses. In Uganda, every year, over 50,000 people die of different types of malaria fever, while statistics from the World Health Organization indicate that over 700,000 people die of malaria fever across the world every year. However, these disturbing trends are offering sleepless nights to Ugandan scientists who have already embarked on a process to produce genetically modified mosquitoes that could prevent a reoccurrence of yellow fever and other forms of malaria fever.
Mosquitoes are our biggest enemy. Mosquitoes have spread malaria. Mosquitoes make a very painful bite. Mosquitoes give people sleepless nights as they whiz around. And now Zika disease. There is a technology to eradicate. It's a GM technology to control mosquitoes. GM mosquitoes that are male sterile.
Initially, Uganda Virus Research Institute and Kawanda National Agricultural Research Institute scientists had conducted an experiment in which they altered two genes in the Aedes aegypti mosquito so that when modified, males breed with wild females. The offspring could inherit a lethal gene and die in the larva stage. But would this be possible?
How does it work? The male mosquito will mate with the female mosquito and introduce an embryo lethality gene. Because that gene is on its chromosome, on its sperm chromosome. So it will go into all the eggs, and as the eggs are busy trying to hatch, they die. All of them.
Following these scientific findings that producing GMO mosquitoes could be a better solution to fighting the malaria fever prevalence rate down, the Council of Ugandan Scientists housed at Uganda Virus Research Institute, mandated with controls of mosquitoes, had received an application over the matter. But what went wrong?
Actually, Council once received this application, but they said, let's hold on. But many countries like Brazil are already releasing GM mosquitoes in the environment. Uganda, they just put it on hold because it was actually very, very fast. I think it was the second, before they even had this framework. So they said, okay, we are in the process of developing an interim framework to evaluate products of GMO technology. So they decided it was too early for them to sufficiently evaluate that technology.
The Council of Ugandan Scientists has been waiting the approval of the GMO Bill 2012 by Parliament to start the trial release of assenting genetically modified mosquitoes to prevent a reoccurrence of yellow fever outbreak, but in vain. However, they are convinced that once the bill is passed and assented to by the President this year, they will start producing GMO mosquitoes.
The bill will give grounds for all of these, and that's why it is centralized in a central science committee rather than put it in Ministry of Agriculture. Supposing they bring issues of mosquitoes, you don't understand them. It's, supposing they bring a GM yogurt, a GM yeast, which they need to make a certain special yogurt or certain special beer. People in agriculture would not understand. So we proposed a more central authority that can bring in expertise from across the biological sciences.
We are now privy to information that while Ugandan scientists consider to carry out their first test around water catchment areas of Uganda, slums, and in communities living near national parks and game reserves, some people in the Keys and elsewhere are already up in arms. Some civil society organizations are on alert, with more than 155,000 people ready to sign a petition opposing the trial of genetically engineered mosquitoes in the communities and areas earmarked for first trial tests.
That male sterile mosquito is reared in a special facility, packaged in little boxes, and released in the environment for a continuous period. So as males continue to mate with the females, all the eggs just die, and the population of mosquitoes goes to zero. In the whole area where these males have been released.
Many scientists say that genetically modifying the Aedes mosquito and possibly other types of mosquitoes carrying diseases such as malaria is a more effective and environmentally better way of controlling mosquito-borne illnesses than spraying parasites and other measures.
But in Brazil, in Florida, it has been used. In actual fact, in one island in Malaysia, mosquitoes don't exist anymore. Because if you release several times, eventually all females die, all the eggs they hatched die, and the males who you released die of natural death. Finished. No bites, no malaria, life is good.
However, should the Ugandan parliament fail to pass the GMO Bill 2012, scientists are considering using other legal options of having the National Drug Authority Act amended to enable them to produce GMO mosquitoes.
For purposes of that, the way drugs are regulated is completely different. And that's one of the reasons why the National Drug Authority is also revising the Act so that they can incorporate some of these regulatory requirements for GM products that are of curative benefit.
But should Parliament pass the GMO Bill 2012, what's going to be the setup of the authority of scientists in the process of manufacturing and producing a lot of GMO living organisms?
The bill proposes that indeed National Council, which has already been doing an interim process, would be the competent authority to host, to be appointed the caretaker of this technology. Then it would set up a committee, central committee, National Biosafety Committee, of experts from all ranges of expertise, socioeconomists, environment, industry, and then they all would also have a registrar, and a registry. We need to know what has been released, what were the applications, who applied, what was their intention, why was it rejected, why was it accepted. So there would be a central registry. Actually, this registry is also supposed to be sent to the international CBD, so that the whole world knows, oh, in Uganda this was released, in Uganda this was applied and it was rejected. So that
apparently, genetically engineered Aedes mosquitoes has proven itself in other countries, successfully reducing populations of the insects by up to 90% in field trials in the Cayman Islands, Brazil, Malaysia, and Panama. Timothy Sibasi, Just Television, Kampala.